Schneid guy.
So now we're going to talk about some very important nephron processes. So the nephron is the individual unit of the kidney, and what we have here is a little schematic looking at what we call Bowman's space, which is contained within Bowman's capsule. And you can see that the blood supply coming in the kidney goes right up against Bowman's space. We see that the afferent arteriole here eventually came from the renal artery, which is until we got to this point where the arteriole is coming into the capillary here. And this capillary is referred to as the glomerular capillary. That's the specialized capillary of the kidney. And then after the glomerular capillary, we would have expected a venule, but instead we have another arteriole. So this particular capillary is in between two arterioles. That's unusual for a capillary bed. Most capillaries are in between an arteriole and a venule. And this arteriole then leads to another capillary bed, either the peritubular capillary, that's the kind of capillary that wraps around the tubule, or what we call the vasa recta, which has a hairpin turn like the loop of Henle and goes along with that. In either case, these are both capillaries, and eventually they end up delivering their blood to the renal vein. Now, the fluid that ends up in Bowman's space and for the rest of the nephron, that is what we call the tubular fluid. And so how does that fluid get there? It gets there through the process of filtration, which is the standard definition of fluid moving from the capillary out of the capillary into some space. In this case, it's Bowman's space as opposed to the interstitial space. And that filtration process we often call glomerular filtration to specify that it's coming from the glomerular capillary. Now we have some other processes here. We saw reabsorption in systemic capillary beds, and that still holds true as anything comes from the tubular fluid out into the capillary blood. We call that reabsorption, and it's not just fluid. We also have substances that can be reabsorbed as well, and we still use that terminology. We also have substances that can be secreted into the tubular fluid. We never have fluid get secreted into the tubular fluid. That's kind of an important point. Once we're in the tubular fluid here, it either is going to be removed or it's not going to be removed. We never add fluid. So the only secretion concerns that we have here would be of substances. So finally, once we look at what we have at the end of the nephrons, all delivering their fluid ultimately to the bladder, and that urine is going to have the excretion of the fluid and whatever substances were remaining in that fluid before it became urine. So we really put all of this together. We have filtration, where's the entry point of everything. We reabsorb, we secrete, and then we excrete. And we're going to put all of these processes together mathematically and describe how different substances can be handled.